So this past week, the country took some time to remember the life of Senator John McCain. At 81, passed away from brain cancer. Many people watched what happened at the funeral services. We read what happened from the speakers. But this was particularly noted as an occasion where people from both sides of the aisle showed up to pay their respects. And what did you think about the event itself, Jennifer, and kind of the feel kind of our sense of Americans as opposed to just political parties?
I do think that there was a bridge that was built over that time. The tributes were coming fast and furious from all political standpoints. And I don't think that anyone can argue that this man was a patriot. He absolutely spoke his convictions. He represented to the best that he could. He was outspoken, and yet he was collaborative. So when you combine that kind of principle with the loyalty to country, I think that was really remarkable. I mean, there was a huge absence in the room, though. He deliberately did not invite the President of the United States, and I think that loomed large. I think that you know, when you sort of saw the camera pan across the crowd, there was an absence there, and you would expect the Commander-in-Chief to be at this national moment of mourning, and he was absent. I thought that was quite dramatic. Yeah, it was, particularly, Lisa, when you put that against the letter that he wrote a farewell letter, which was essentially, it's time for us all to come together. How did those two things work?
Well, isn't it interesting that that letter was referenced in the op-ed in the New York Times, written by one or more people in the Trump administration, criticizing the president's ability to lead and saying that they had to step in. I mean, I think a lot of people look to John McCain for that role in Congress. He was the one willing to stand up to the president on issues, not leaving behind his conservative values, his strongly held beliefs, but willing to stand up and say no to things that the president wanted. In his absence, you know, the question is, are we going to continue to see that? Some of his critics are either leaving Congress at the end of this term, or have suddenly become quite quiet, or have even become supporters of President Trump. I found it interesting that there were a number of Utahns who made the effort to be at McCain's service. Ambassador Huntsman traveled from Moscow to be there. Mitt Romney was there, an outspoken critic of Trump, but as Glenn noted in our previous segment, Trump did endorse Romney in his Senate race, but Romney was a presence there.
I don't want to suggest that death of an American hero is opportunistic, but this certainly came at a time that our country really needed it. You look at all the chaos and drama that's going on outside of this event with Senator McCain, and it brought the country together, well, most of the country. You noted the absence of one person, but most of the country together for a moment to say, this is what it's all about. This is our country. You know, you mentioned as they spanned the room all the different people we saw there. We saw Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Senator Hatch, Senator Lee, Mitch McConnell, all together for one purpose. And that's just something you don't see a lot these days, the country coming together in a way like that. And the one thing I'll always appreciate and respect about Senator McCain is he could beat you up 1 hour and he would lift you up the next hour. And that's why people respected him, because he was always, as you say, he stood by his convictions.
Yeah, that certainly seems to be the legacy. And that's one thing that came from that funeral for sure, is like the one thing you should say to him, regardless of your politics, is just thank you. That's what he was. Thank you for your insights on this issue. We appreciate it.
Sure.